Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about looking up in the metaphorical sense. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice taking a stand at the middle of the mat. Depending on how tall you are, you might need to take a slightly off center stand every time as you take a lunge towards the front and the back end of your mat. We're going to play right and left with our sequencing and we'll transition in the middle. So find your stance, come into a narrow mountain, squeezing the feet and the energy between the legs together and relaxing the arms alongside the body. Take a big breath in, look up. On an exhale, look down. On an inhale, look up. Come back to a neutral chin and float your hands into Jupiter Mudra, interlacing your fingers, index fingers together, crossing at the thumb, index finger looking up to the sky. Take a big breath in as you make a long steeple frame with your body. And then come into a slow palm tree sway, dropping off center to one side and then the other. You can keep the movement in the shoulders or you can take it into the shoulders and the hips, depending on how you're feeling. We're shooting for roughly 3 turns. Then we're going to take that palm tree and we're going to play with it and we're going to trace a circle on the ceiling. I'm working clockwise. Then come to stillness, center aligned, and bring Jupiter Mudra down in front of your heart, translating it into a lotus bloom. You're going to think base or heel of the palms together, pinkies and thumbs touching, fingers open and receptive, looking up to the sky. We're going to set up a small tree line on the right, and we're going to stay below the knee line today, either big toe on the floor or cupping around the calf. Keep your eye trained on a focal point if your balance is off, and then see if you can float your little flower up towards the sky. Look for balance, look for control. Then begin to open your bloom. Maybe sweeping the hands behind you for a loose or a tight interlace. Step the feet flush along the midline. Look up as you come into a back bend, bumping your hips forward over your knees. And then exhale to look down as you fold in table. Inhale to look up. Come back to neutral and take a warrior one reaching step to the front end of your mat. Wiggle walking the back foot away and angling it at 45 as you settle into your reaching warrior one. Try to equalize the weight between the front and the back leg and try to anchor that back heel as best you can so you feel quite an intense stretch up the back chain of that leg. Then ease your way from here into a warrior 3. You can sweep the hands back behind you. You can do a step up on the back leg. Find your balance, coming into a one-legged tabletop stretch, equalizing through the shoulders, through the line of the trunk, through the line of your hips. Look for balance, look for control. Looking down to the floor. Then focus on your floating leg. Drag it back to the ground. You can do a big toe drag on the floor. Pull the knee up. Twist towards your incoming knee, holding for the side of the leg. You could look to the front, to the side, or to the back of the room. Maybe even extending your free arm and reaching for the wall behind you. Look for balance, look for control. Then take a step to the middle of the mat, coming back to your original stand in a narrow mountain, arms squeezing alongside the body. Take a big breath in, look up, melt your shoulders. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Come back to neutral and find Jupiter Mudra. Look for that steeple frame, and when you're ready, begin to palm tree sway for 3. Then start to trace an anti-clockwise circle on the ceiling. Come down along the center line, morphing Jupiter into lotus. Set up a small tree line on the left. Float your mudra overhead. Maybe you're even looking up to the sky if the balance will allow. Then open up your lotus bloom. Bring the hands together behind your back, loosely or tight. Look up towards the sky as you come into a back bend. Exhale to look down as you fold into table. Inhale to look up. Find your way back to a tall stand and take a warrior 1 step to the back end of your mat. Angling out the back foot, wiggle walking till you've found your stance, making sure that the back leg is angled in and that both hips are looking, following the direction of your reaching hands. Look for strength, look for anchorage through the legs. Translate your modified warrior 1 into a warrior 3. We're going to do a stutter step. We're going to float those hands behind us, squaring up through the shoulders, through the hips. Come into a one-legged balancing stand from here, drawing the right knee up, reaching across the midline, looking in front, looking to the side, or looking to the back. Reaching our free arm, opening up through that shoulder. And take a step back to the middle of your mat. Set up your narrow mountain, hands squeezing the body. Take a big breath in, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Come back to neutral and find Jupiter Mudra. Steeple reach for the sky. Find your palm tree sway, moving with your breath. And then start to trace a clockwise circle on the ceiling. Come back down along the center line and morph into a lotus bloom. Set up a baby tree. Float your mudra overhead, maybe looking up towards the sky. Seeing endless possibility. Stepping the 2 feet together as you sweep the hands behind you, looking up to your back bend. Looking down as you fold into table, looking up, then taking a warrior two-step to the front end of your mat, opening up the back foot to 90. And today, we're going to open up the hands and we're going to do palms up. Stabilize your weight, this time back foot open at 90, so hips looking to the side of the room. Equalize your body weight. Strong and proud in Virabhadrasana 2. Then begin to pivot on the back foot, setting up a high lunge, back heel coming off the floor. Rotate your hands, palms down. We're going to come into an aeroplane, warrior 3. Step up the back leg. You can do a little stutter if you need it. Find your table. Equalize through the entire line of the trunk. Then start to drag your floating leg up. Think one-legged mountain. Twist across the midline. Maybe you can extend the leg that you're holding on to, looking to the front, looking to the side, or looking to the back. Find your way back to the middle of the mat for your narrow mountain, squeezing the energy between the legs together, hugging your thighs. Big breath in, look up. Melt your shoulders. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find neutral. Bring your hands to Jupiter. Float them overhead. Take that long Hastasana stretch, steeple stretch, and then begin your little Palmirasana sway side to side. Looking for those areas of tightness, moving into them, and then starting to trace an anti-clockwise circle on the ceiling. Come to stillness. Float Jupiter Mudra down in front of your heart and morph into a lotus blue. Set up a small tree line on the left. Float your flower overhead. Maybe you can take a gentle upwards gaze if your balance allows for it. Look for balance, look for control, and then peel open your lotus blue. Start to sweep the hands behind you. Step the two legs together, look up as you come into the standing back bend, squeezing the two shoulders together, opening up through your chest. Exhale to look down as you fold into table, keeping those hands interlaced behind you. Interlace and look up. Come back to neutral and find your warrior two-step on the second side. Stepping up the back leg once you've positioned your front leg. Find a comfortable stance. Reach those fingertips long, reaching for the sky. Then begin to pivot, finding your way into a high lunge, starting palms up, looking for that delicious stretch into the back hip flexor. Then rotating your hands, palms down, to find your little aeroplane, warrior 3. Taking a step up on the back leg, taking a stutter on the mat if you need it. And finding your way into your one-legged mountain. Twisting across the midline to reach for the outside of your thigh or knee. Extending the leg that you're holding on to if you can. Looking to the front, looking to the side, or looking to the back of the room. Find your way back to the middle of the mat, sitting up your narrow mountain. Big breath in, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find neutral and bring your hands together in Jupiter Mudra. Big breath into. Find your steeple frame and begin to sway like a palm tree, working into those tight nooks and crannies, looking for length, looking for stretch in the body. Then begin to trace a clockwise circle on the ceiling. Coming down along the center way. Morph your hands into a lotus bloom and set up your small tree line. Float your lotus bloom overhead, maybe looking gently up towards the sky. Open up your lotus bloom. Bring your gaze back to neutral. Sweep the hands behind you as you find your narrow mountain, Tadasana. Look up, come into your standing back bend. Look down as you find table. Look up. Back to neutral. Take a small warrior one-like step towards the top end of your mat. Angle in the back foot to 45 and open up your arms, palms looking down as we set ourselves up for a triangle. Big breath in. Reach your front arm forward. Then start to drop down, finding purchase on the inseam of your lead leg. You could be low to the floor, or you could be higher up along the chain of your leg. Opening up the side of your body, breathing into the left side of your ribs, making soft T-like frame through the arms as you set up open triangle, Uttita Trikonasana. Big breath in, come back to neutral. This time your hands are looking in towards the center. Then start to make the back arm heavy to your back leg. Top arm reaches for the sky as you come into a reverse triangle. From here, we're going to find our way into a rotated triangle. You're going to begin to wiggle the back arm, drop the lead arm, reach across the midline with the back arm rotating in the opposite direction to find purchase on the outside of the lead leg. You could do fingers to floor, you could be holding up higher along the chain of the leg, you could even use a block on the outside of the lead leg to assist your pose. Parivarta Trikonasana, rotated triangle. Then start to untwist your trunk, placing your hands on your hips and changing the angle of the back leg. Let's do all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, holding that tabletop stretch as we come into pyramid pose, trying to keep both legs as long and as extended as we can manage. We're going to try to find our way from here into either full dancing Shiva, or you could come into your one legged mountain with a hold onto your knee or the side of the leg. We're going to find our tall stand. We're going to drag up the back leg. We're going to think knee up. We're going to try to reach hand to big toe this time as we extend the left leg and reach the right arm for the wall. Sorry, reach the left hand for the wall behind us. So you're holding opposite hand to big toe, or maybe you're holding onto the outside of your limb like we did in the previous round. Take a step to the middle of your mat. Set up your narrow mountain. Big breath in. Look up to the sky. Melt your shoulders. Exhale. Look down to the floor. Inhale, look up. Exhale, find neutral and bring your hands to Jupiter. Float them overhead. Long steeple stretch. And begin to palm tree sway when you're ready. Anti-clockwise circle. Come to stillness, float those hands down, and morphing into a beautiful open lotus bloom when you're ready. Set up a small tree line on the second side. Float your lotus bloom overhead, maybe gently looking up towards the sky and endless possibility. Gently open up your petals. Sweep your hands together behind your back. Come into a standing back bend looking up to the sky. Exhale to look down as you come into a tabletop stretch. Inhale as you look up towards the sky. Come back to your nice tall mountain stand and take a small triangle step to the back end of your mat. Angling in the back foot, straightening up both legs when you're ready, and then opening up your hands. We can do palms in from the get-go. Take a big breath in and lean forward. Then start to drop down, finding purchase on the inseam of your lead leg. Look for those beautiful, long, stretchy lines through the legs, through the arms, through the line of your trunk. Breathe into the open side of your rib cage. Big breath in to stand up. Start to make your backhand heavy to your back leg. Reach the lead arm for the sky as you reverse your triangle. Looking up. Then start to rotate windmill style through the back arm across the midline as you find your way into a revolved or a twisted triangle. Looking up to the sky. Then untwist your trunk, place your hands on your hips and change the angle of the back leg, stepping it so that all 10 toes, so both feet, looking to the front of your mat while you hold a tabletop stretch. We're going to step up the back leg, finding our way into dancing Shiva. Holding opposite hand to big toe, reaching for the wall behind us. Looking for a softness in your base knee, so don't lock out the joint as you find your stand. Find your way back to the middle of your mat. Legs squeezing together as you find your way into your narrow mountain. Big breath in, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find your way to the neutral chin. Hands come to Jupiter, float them overhead, make a long steeple frame with your body, and begin to palm tree sway when you're ready. Start to trace anti-clockwise or clockwise. Come to stillness. Bring Jupiter Mudra down in front of your heart, transitioning into a lotus bloom and setting up a small tree line on the right. Float your lotus bloom overhead, maybe starting to gaze up. Open up the petals of your flower as you bring your gaze to neutral, then sweep the hands behind you, squeeze the legs together, come into a standing back bend looking up. Exhale to fold forward into table and look down. Inhale, look up. Come into your standing back bend. And then back to a narrow mountain to find your way to a tall lunge at the top end of your mat. Stepping the back foot away, wiggle walking it away, and just pressing off your lead thigh. Then relaxing the back and knee to the floor. You can keep the toes tucked under as you look up, coming into a crescent lunge, Anyanya Asana. Then starting to bring the hands down and reaching opposite hand to hip, looking over the right shoulder while keeping that low lunge. Untwisting your trunk, finding your way to a straddle line. You can hold onto the inseam of your legs, or you could come to a tabletop reach if you prefer. So play with it, see where you need to be. From your straddle line, you're going to heel toe in, coming back to the middle of your mat for your narrow mountain, squeezing the energy between the legs together. Big breath in, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Back to neutral. Find Jupiter Mudra. Start to make that tall steeple frame and begin to sway when you're ready. Start to morph anti-clockwise, circling on the ceiling, moving into those areas of tightness in the hips and the shoulders. Come to stillness. Bring your hands down in front of your heart and morph them into a bloom. Set up your small tree line. Maybe start to float your bloom up. Maybe your gaze can follow suit, looking up. Open up your hands, reach tall through the line of your body, through the line of your arms. Bring your gaze to neutral as you step the two legs together. Sweep the arms behind, and once they're interlaced, look up towards the sky as you come into a standing back bend. Exhale to fold forward in table, looking down. Inhale to look up as you find your standing back bend. Find your way back to a neutral, narrow mountain and take a lunge step to the top end of your mat. Pressing off your lead thigh, wiggle walking your back leg away. Look for that beautiful opening through the hip flexors and into the groin. And relax your back knee to the floor. You can keep the toes tucked under. Coming into Anyanya Asana, crescent lunge as you sweep your arms up and look up towards the sky. Bring the hands down to wrap around the waist, opposite hand to hip, looking over the left shoulder. Unraveling yourself to find your way into a straddle stretch. You could be hands to floor, hands to the inseam of your legs, or maybe just a tabletop stretch. Pick your poison. We're going to use this straddle line to find our way into a mid and then a low squat. So begin to peel your feet out. Think plie line and start to lean with your body weight. Maybe you're peeling the toes off the mat as you lean to one side, and then maybe transitioning and bringing the heels off the floor. Maybe you can ground through the feet. Come to stillness. Big breath in, drop one shoulder down, looking up towards the sky, over the opposite shoulder. Inhale, come back to the middle. Exhale to drop the second shoulder, look towards the ceiling, look up over the opposite shoulder. Come back to the middle and start to play with that lean, surreptitiously bringing the feet in as narrow or as wide as you need to find your way down towards the floor and into a deep squat line, Malasana. Maybe you can find that lotus bloom again. Maybe you prefer to bring your hands into prayer or into Jupiter, your core. Keep using your elbows to prise the inner thighs gently open. Look up. Look down. Look up. Bring your chin line back to neutral as you find your way into Sukhasana, easy sit. Let's do right leg in front and left. Take a moment just to position yourself on the mat. Holding onto your lead thigh, take a big breath in, look up. Melt your shoulders. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Come back to neutral and twist across the midline, taking left hand to right thigh, pressing down and away, keeping your body weight centered. Look for that opening through the right groin. Then twist your trunk in the opposite direction, reaching for the undercarriage of the right foot. We're going to come into heron pose, we're going to try to either keep the leg bent as we open, or we can extend and open, looking away from our extended leg as we come into open heron, crouchasana, trying to keep our body weight centered on both bum bones. Then maybe taking the twist in the opposite direction, reaching opposite hand to foot and coming into a closed twist. Once again, using the fingertips of our other hand on the floor behind us to help with balance and control. Stay here, or maybe you can cross at the wrists and hold onto the undercarriage of your foot. You could use a belt or a strap to help you make that connection with your foot if you cannot hold onto it and extend the leg. Then maybe bending the knee, thinking seated half a happy baby, bringing that knee in towards your armpit, holding onto the foot with both hands. Maybe you'd like to move from your happy baby into rock the baby. You could hold onto the foot and the shin loosely, or you could look for a tighter hug, bringing that limb in towards your body and softening through the line of the back. Then stepping your right foot over the left knee, knife edging the foot, making space for your bum on the mat as you come into a little shoelace, cupping your hands around the feet, hugging them in, take a big breath in, look up to the sky. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find your way to a neutral gaze. Notice which leg is on top and float the opposite hand overhead, bending at the elbow and placing the hand palm down between the two shoulders. Then reach the other hand overhead. Reach for the tip of that elbow and tuck it into center. Maybe you'd like to relax your chin to your chest with a slight downward gaze. Maybe you'd like to take an underhand bind, seeing if you can bring the two hands together behind your back in a little bear grip. Keep your gaze at neutral or look down towards the floor. Then undo the grip that you have with the hands. Take the top leg, sliding it into a half lotus line, trying to tuck that heel as close towards the inside of the opposite hip as you can. You can place the block or bolster underneath the right knee if you need to. We're going to press down with the right arm and look for a little bit of opening into the right groin. Find your way from here into a loose butterfly line, bringing the soles of both feet together. You can hold around the ankles or the feet, whichever you feel comfortable with. Take a big breath in, look up, melt your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find your way back to neutral and change the cross of your legs, finding your way into Sukhasana, this time left leg in front. Take a big breath in. We're going to press down and away with the left hand, looking over the right shoulder and trying to keep both bum bones grounded to the mat. Then we're Turning an untwisted trunk, we're going to reach for the left foot with the left hand. We're going to open up into heron pose, maybe using our right fingertips to support the frame. Holding our open heron for a few. Before changing the heron, reaching opposite hand to foot, closing the twist. Maybe you'd like to reach with both hands for the undercarriage of your foot, crossing at the wrist. Looking for beautiful extension of that left leg. Then morphing your heron into a seated happy baby, thinking bent knee to armpit on the left. Then maybe morphing into Hinduasana, rock the baby, holding onto your foot and your knee and shin, or maybe tucking that limb in tighter towards your chest. Just see how the back is feeling, see how the shoulders are feeling. Then maybe stepping your left foot over the right knee, shoelace style. So we're going to knife edge that foot as it comes to the floor. We're going to reach for both feet, hug them in towards our ribs, big breath in, big chin to sky. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Find your way to neutral. Notice which leg is in front. You're going to float the opposite hand overhead, bending at the elbow to place the hand between the two shoulders. Maybe taking your free arm, reaching overhead, and then tucking that floating elbow in. Keeping your gaze down or in neutral. Stay here or maybe try an underhand grip behind the back. Modifying with a belt or a strap if you need to. Then unraveling to find your way into a half lotus sit. Ardha Padmasana. If the half lotus line is not happening, just come back into easy sit. We're going to press down and away on the left. Then ease your way from here into a butterfly line. Bringing the soles of your feet together, wrapping your hands around the feet or the ankles. Take a big breath in. Think a long line through the spine, looking up to the sky. Melt your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, nod chin to chest, look down. Inhale, look up. Bring your chin back to neutral and then take a seat of your choice to end off your practice. It could be cross-legged, it could be in more of a thunderbolt kneel, you could be sitting on a bolster or a cushion. Pick a seat that resonates for you and just place your hands loosely on your ribs with your fingertips just gently interlacing under your bosom. We're going to look for some lateral breathing here. Inhale, open up the ribs to the side of the room so that the hands move apart. And then as you exhale and the ribs fall in, the hands come together. Give yourself a few breaths. Maybe gently taking your gaze up towards the sky as you play with that breath. Then morph your hands into a lotus bloom, positioning it just gently in front of your chest and your throat center. Take a big breath in, look up. Exhale, look down. Look up, see endless possibility. Look down, see the floor with a definite ending. Up is endless, the floor has an ending. Always, always look up. With that thought of positivity in your mind for the remainder of today, close your lotus bloom in prayer. Namaste to you. Thank you so much for coming out to play. Remember to look up for the remainder of today. Till next time, keep it light.